Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son of
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we've made it our mission to help you guys own it. It is another wild day. I feel like, again, I say that every day this week for the last several weeks. It's been wild. Another wild day today. The stock market was down, it was up, and now it's still up. We'll see what happens as we get into the close. But guys, as always, let me hit everybody up with the starting five. I got the Fernando Pereira, John Gosson, Eric Brands, Lindsey Rice, Jay Chocolate, Jeff Chocolate. What's up, man? You guys are our starting five. If you guys didn't make the starting five, it could be because you don't have the notification bell rung. So hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live at 3:45 p.m. Monday through Thursday. It's usually Freddie Thursdays. Freddie said he couldn't make it, so no Freddie today. However, I do have another special guest, people.
Screw Freddie. We don't need Freddie. Why do you need Freddie when you got Fat Man Zoom? Let me ask you that question, people. Why? What's up, friends? Let me tell you something, Brad. I needed to be back.
Ooh.
I needed to be back because you mispronounced a couple of those names, especially Lindsey Rice. She's from Brazil, so the R is actually not like it sounds. So you need help.
I do.
You need Jesus. But people, isn't it the perfect day for me to be back?
It is.
Clover up 20%.
It is, yes.
I mean, don't worry, it'll be down 50% tomorrow, but let me soak in this. I need a win in my life. What's up, people? Sam, what's up? I wish I had the scroll. Sam, what's up? Steve King, my guy. Imran, you know what? I am doing well. And guys, I wanted to jump on. I'm not going to be on for long. You're going to see more of me. It's time for me to get back to work. I wanted to provide you with an update. But first, man, I'm going to try not to cry. I'm okay with crying, but I'm going to try not to cry. The support has been overwhelming. I love you guys. I really, truly do. Even the trolls, I love you too, man. It doesn't even matter. But
we've had trolls too.
Have you?
Yeah.
Like trolls for me?
Yeah.
Why? They think what?
I had one.
They want me to die?
I had one person make a comment. I guess they didn't know the situation. They're like, no offense, but I came here to watch stocks, not 10 minutes of you keep making updates about your friends.
Stickaroo. What's up? Mariachi. No, it's been, Brad's been keeping me updated. I've been trying to check in. I've been watching. I just haven't been chatting. So from time to time, I'm just finished radiation and I have some side effects. I have some extreme short-term memory loss, which is going to be for another month. So when I come on, I'm probably going to be saying the same things over and over again and the same horrible jokes. But, the bottom line is it's time for me to get back to work. We have, as you guys know, most of you know that this is a serious case and there's a lot of things that are happening right now. I got to get rid of this current tumor, which radiation is done. I'm preparing myself for chemo first week of April, which is going to be 6 months of chemo, but I'm in a good spot. And that's because of the support I've had in no small part to the Chaos crew. So I'm humbled by the support and I appreciate it. More than you guys can know. Words can't express like what all the support has meant to me. So thank you guys. Thanks to my brother here who saved my life. January 31st, we were sitting right here when it all began and I had a seizure right back there. And that's when this whole craziness happened. So I do have I still don't know for sure, but we're moving forward, and the doctors say 95% plus likelihood I have a glioblastoma, which means that they're telling me I have 12 to 18 months to live, and I'm telling them they could shove it up their ass. There's no way. Mark it down. There's no way. We're defying the odds, people. We're defying the odds. We're about to go on a journey. There's a lot of things to be done, but I want you guys to be a part of this journey. You'll learn more in the future, but I feel good. We've had a lot of big wins already. Once we get done with this tumor, the next action item is how do we move that 12 to 18 months to 18, 28, 80 years before this damn thing comes back. But we're ready. So you guys are going to be a part of this journey. I appreciate it, Jonathan White. I appreciate the prayers, the thoughts, all of it. We're all in this together. My mantra through this is lit. So the treatment I got is to remove it. The laser treatment I got was called LIT, L-I-T-T. And so my mantra moving through this acronym is L-I-T-T. Love is a treatment, man. We're coming at this from a place of love. We're coming at this from a place of positivity.
Yep.
And what got me here and us here is relationships and community and connection. And we're going to use that and lean into that as we move forward. So I'm going to, if anybody does have any questions, and I'm going to let you speak while you're speaking, if anybody has any questions, feel free, don't feel obligated, but I'll wrap with that. And then you guys will see me here probably next week. So thanks again, guys. Good to see you too. Did you have anything you wanted to add or say?
I was just going to say, like,
don't make me cry.
It feels pretty damn good to have you in that seat again.
It's back, baby.
I know.
It feels good.
Feels like everything's right in the world. And Fat Man Zoom's back in the studio.
Listen, like normalcy is really important. And Snookeroo, the party crasher, I'm trying to work through my bucket list. I haven't decided if I'm still going to crash these parties, but I haven't decided if how Barstool's involved in that bucket list, but I feel like it has to be involved in that bucket list.
Yeah, I've tried to reach out.
I might go for Dave Portnoy.
I've tried to reach out to both of them. No response.
Get that shit done, man.
I've been working on it.
Yeah, so Darren Anderson, I appreciate you. Thanks for the words. Kirby, thank you. Karem, what's up?
Look at all the comments.
Miss you too. Savvy, thank you. All right.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting back at it. With that being said, Fat Man Zoom is out. Close to the moon. All right, brother.
See you, man. How about that? Huh? There he goes, ladies and gents. Oh, man, that was good. Oh, yeah, you didn't even do your... Oh, he's gone. You didn't give the real buy. The real sign out. The Freddie sign out.
I got a brain tumor.
the Freddie sign off that we usually do.
What do we do the Freddie sign?
The bye.
Oh shit. Honestly, that is my brain tumor that calls it. Oh man, I got to do that. Bye. Hook 'em.
Oh man. All right. It is, Jenny. Good stuff. I'm loving the love. You guys are fantastic. Really great to have Fat Man Zoom in the house. Even if for a brief moment, as you heard, he will be back in some sort of fashion starting next week. We don't even know what that looks like, to be honest. But we'll figure that out as we go along. He's obviously been super disconnected from everything that's been going on in the world. So we'll get him caught up to speed and hopefully have him be a part of the stream and all that good stuff. But yeah, it was great. It was good. I like that. Zero Block says, what's Barstool going to do? Kick out a guy with a brain tumor? Certainly wouldn't be a good look. That's for sure. That's for sure. That's a great comment too. It says, in this world, we're seeing so much hatred. It's nice to see the love unfold here for sure. It's so good, guys. It's so good. He's creating a bucket list, creating a list of things that he wants to do, places to go, that sort of thing. And we're trying to be as transparent as possible. So I'm actually going to be documenting a lot of it. Yeah, that's going to be It's gonna be really cool. He wants it documented. We're gonna put some stuff up on YouTube, I think, probably on his channel. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, to be honest with you. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be, and I hate to say it like that because I don't want to sound insensitive, but like he wants to have fun with it too. So like that's what it's gonna be like. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be inspiring, all of those things. So looking forward to that as well. And yeah, you guys are going to really be, what's the word? Enlightened, maybe, just off of like some of the conversations we've already had and documented. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good for those who might be going through something similar. That being said, yes, Jeff, for sure. Absolutely. That is going to be a thing. That's going to be a thing. I'm not crying. You're crying. I know, Kyle. That's what I'm saying. It's awesome. You guys are fantastic. You guys don't make it misty in here. Don't make it dusty. I got a show to run. Don't do this to me. All right. So what about the markets today? I mean, it's been obviously wild, right? We've had some craziness going on geopolitically. Russia has officially invaded Ukraine. I know we talked about that they were technically across Ukraine's borders on Stockwatch Monday, but full-on assault. It is an official war between Ukraine and Russia. We just heard word that the U.S., along with a lot of the other NATO countries, are imposing a lot of sanctions on Russia. And there was a lot of, I guess, questions about, so there's a lot of questions about SWIFT and why that wasn't on the table as far as, sanctions were concerned. And the problem with that is that there's other parts of Europe, including NATO countries, that are involved with SWIFT, and it would create a lot of other economic issues, and I'm not sure that they're ready to pull the trigger on that. Based off of what we heard from President Biden talking about it, it seemed as if not everybody was on board with, going after SWIFT. So this is just kind of like the next phase on an economic warfare on Russia. And I think that's probably going to continue to be a really big topic of discussion. But there's a lot of other risk factors in kind of cutting Russia off from SWIFT. And so I think that's probably one of the big reasons. If by some chance or some reason the rest of Europe figures out how to operate and pay for or gather energy resources from somewhere else, then maybe SWIFT goes on the table. But right now, I don't think that it makes a lot of sense. It's almost kind of like shooting themselves in the foot if they were able to do that. And again, I'm not a geopolitical expert. This is just my thoughts. Nobody take this to the bank, but those are just kind of my thoughts as I was kind of processing this throughout the day. As a result, we saw the markets take the hell off. I mean, everything's going up. I was down considerably along with the rest of you, I'm sure. And now I'm up considerably. I mean, I saw the IWM was down over 2% at one point today, actual trading and now it's up over 2%. Let's take a look at the IWM right now. Where we're at. Yeah, it's up 2.5%. Look at the IWM. This is the Russell 2000 ETF. IWM is up 2.5%. I mean, that's wild. The SPY was down to 410. I believe was the low. It was lower than that even it was lower than that pre-market, and obviously futures were getting hammered overnight. But then now we're looking at 428. I mean, that is wild. What a bounce. And I'm not gonna look. I don't want to diminish what's going on across the globe and what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. But we did talk about this, right? I actually purposely did not make a watch list this morning because I thought that it would be a little bit too insensitive. Just didn't sit right with me. So I decided against that. But I mentioned in the watch list this morning, if you guys aren't a part of that, check out the Chaos Crew. If you guys want to be a part of an incredible community. But I mentioned in there, like, we kind of saw the writing on the wall and we gave scenarios in which you should potentially be prepared. One of those was that when we were looking at, previous conflicts and invasions of other countries, 5 out of the last 5 times, we saw rallies after the invasion. We saw a sell-off going into the invasion happened, stock market rallies. So could this be the first day of, maybe potentially some more green days to come? I think it remains to be seen. I'm not by any means saying that we're out of the woods, because we still have a lot of headwinds ahead of us. I mean, this war could potentially bring about more inflation, right? Which is already a problem. We're at 7% inflation, and this is going to potentially create more of that. But the Fed is now even more in a corner, because at one point a half a point rate hike was on the table for March, and that's probably gonzo. So the Fed, I think, still has to raise rates. It's just a matter of how aggressive can they get without throwing us all into a depression or a recession even. Flip those back, a recession or a depression even. So that's something to certainly be mindful of. So I think that we could see a potential rally, but we're still in an inflationary environment. And now we've just piled more potential inflation on top of that. So that is something to certainly be very concerned about moving forward, as far as your own personal finance is concerned, and your portfolios are concerned. This isn't to take away anything that's going on across the, in Europe. I was just watching some of the footage, and they have stuff on TV, and that's fine. But like some of the footage that you're seeing from actual Ukrainians on the ground, civilians, mind you, on Twitter, that are sharing on social media, it's really disturbing. So that's really kind of been weighing on my mind for the most part of the day, and my thoughts are with those people. It's very disheartening, and so I don't want that to be understated. That should certainly be on the top of everybody's minds. At the same time, the world still has to operate. We still have to do our thing. So that is what it is. We just have to look at, and think about, reflect on some things, but also we still have to carry on. So looking at, the markets in general, the SPY was just crazy today. We were officially closed. It officially closed up 1.5% after being down over 2%. I mean, there was talks of circuit breakers going off. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, increments of 5, 7.5, and 15, I think it's 15%, 20%, somewhere around there, is when you will see trading suspended. If the S&P or the Dow was down 20%, trading would just stop altogether. The stock market would close. But there's also points, and if you guys were around during the crash of 2020, we saw those circuit breaker events multiple days in a row, where the stock market would just sell off, and you'd have to suspend the entire market from trading. And fortunately, we didn't see that today, and we actually ended up seeing a pretty decent rally. So can it continue to go up? I think there's potential that it can, but there's also a rollover. Given how much this moved up, I mean, I think that we could potentially see something like we saw back on January 24th. And I just keep going back to that, because I mean, the Dow was down 800 points that day, closed the day green. S&P as well was down a ton. I mean, it came down to 420 and then closed that day up to close to 440. So that was a wild day as far as the S&P or the SPY is concerned as well on that day. And that's the kind of day it feels like. So maybe we see some consolidation. It would be great if we did, but I'm not holding my breath. All this to say that I'm not changing anything. I'm in good quality companies. I mean, my Microsoft trade was on absolute fire today. A lot of the other good quality companies that I was in has also done extremely well, with the exception of oil. But that's why we diversify. Even though my marathon trade was down a ton today, it actually ended up coming back not so bad. It was down 1.5%. But even with that being down, I was hella green. I was up 12%. My entire portfolio was up 12% today. Isn't that crazy to think about? 12%. My entire portfolio was up. So pretty decent move. Coinbase does have earnings today as well. Let's look at Coin. That is up now 5%. Let's take a look at this. All right. So okay, let me pull up Coinbase's numbers. Looks like obviously those numbers seem to be out. Stock right now is up almost 7% after hours. Damn. We got a couple other earnings as well. We got Rocket Companies, I believe is today. Yeah, we got Rocket. Who else do we have? Somebody help me out. It's been a day, people. All right, let me pull up Coinbase. Coinbase came in at 2.49 billion versus 1.81 billion expected on revenue. The earnings per share was the monster beat here. $3.32 versus $1.95 expected. So pretty low bar set for Coinbase, and they crushed it. Stock is going off still and holding its gains for the most part. It shot all the way up to 203, now trading at around 190, closed the day at 179. So where can we see this go from here? We have a resistance all the way up at around 213. I think that's going to be an interesting spot to watch tomorrow if this buying continues going into the open. And we have lots to room to run though. It's sitting at 190. So I think that there's plenty of momentum behind it that I could potentially get to that point. But that is a huge beat for Coinbase. Wow. That is pretty solid. Pretty solid. There's also Etsy has earnings today. I don't know if those numbers have been released, but we'll take a look at the stock right now and see if it's reacting at all to anything. Stock is down 2.25. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart here. A little bit all over the place. Looks like those numbers may be out. Etsy's down 47% year to date, by the way. How unbelievable is that? It's down 47% year to date, Etsy. Wild. Unbelievable. So if you guys are just tuning in, Coinbase crushed earnings. And it looks as if maybe Etsy did not. Stock's now down 3.5%, now 4% after hours. Checking on a Rocket. That stock is now down 7.5%. That's not good. I have Rocket. Not a giant position, but that sucks. So it looks like Rocket might be. Oh yeah, Square. Okay, thanks guys. I appreciate it. Square also has, which is now Block. Pull up that. So Rocket getting hammered right now. Block is now down 2%. Looks like those numbers might be out. I don't have anything just yet. But if you're just tuning in, we got earnings on Coinbase, and they crushed earnings pretty handily. Let me just reiterate those numbers if you're just tuning in and curious about the coin numbers. They came in at 2.49 billion in revenue. The expectation was 1.81 billion. The earnings per share is $3.32 versus the expected was $1.95. So an unbelievable beat for coin. And the stock is actually now red. That's wild. It was up to 203.71, has now turned around and is down around 2%. No idea as to why. I'm sure there's probably something in that report that people aren't, or investors aren't very too happy about. Who knows why that is? But that is wild. I see a lot of you guys reacting to Square and Rocket. Yeah. So that is what's going on right now. BYND also has earnings. Beyond Meat, if you guys are interested in that, I don't see any numbers on them just yet. Let's take a look at the stock, see how it's moving. Down 6%. So pretty decent I guess, action amongst all of these so far. BYND or Beyond Meat has actually guided down their 2022 fiscal year. Revenue is guided down to 560 to 620, and the estimation was around 645. So that is far below what the expectation was. Imagine that. Was fake meat a fad? Was fake meat a fad, or does Beyond Meat just suck? Somebody answer that. Somebody answer that for me. Someone posted a Rocket dividend of $1.01 per share. If that's the case, that stock should make a huge reversal. I hope that's true. Let me pull up Rocket here real quick. Last time Rocket did this, the stock went crazy. Yes, that is confirmed. Rocket Companies announced a special dividend of $1 per share. They came in at 32 cents. They missed a 37-cent estimate. Sales are at 2.44 billion. They missed a 2.63 billion estimate. So they missed earnings, and they didn't miss them pretty either. They missed on revenue. They missed on earnings per share, but they did come out with a special $1.01 per share dividend for Rocket. That's interesting. I'd be curious to see how the stock reacts on that, because obviously not great news, missing earnings per share, but now they announced that $1 for an 11. That's what, a 10%. Yeah, it's a 10%, almost a 10% yield for Rocket on that special dividend. So that means for every one share you own, you get $1 back. That's pretty damn good. I mean, that's really damn good. So is it enough to get the stock going despite some of the earnings disappointment? I think that's potential. I think it's potentially true. I think that could be something that gets this stock going. Don says fake meat is trash. It's not even good for you. Just eat a steak or rabbit food. Yeah. I mean, talk about processed, right? I mean, I'm like vegetarian dumb because I'm very much a carnivore. So like I'm very ignorant when it comes to people who are straight up vegetarians. And I promise I'm not shitting on you. I just don't know anything about it. So like, wouldn't you think? My thought process is like processed food in general, they say is not good for you. So when you look at something like Beyond Meat that is very much processed, I can't imagine that's actually good for you. No. And somebody point me in the right direction. Is that a wrong way to think about it? I don't know. All right. As a result, though, Beyond Meat is still tanking. That stock is down 8%. Let's check back in with Square, formerly known as Square. Stock is down around 2.7%. See if those numbers are officially in. This is a much better reaction than PayPal's earnings, even if they were disappointing. Looks like those numbers might be in. And it looks like they might have missed. I don't have the official numbers just yet. Give me one moment. It's still tanking. It is now down 4% after hours. Still coming down here. What were the expectations on here? Let me pull up Square. Square's expectations. So they're expected 22 cents per share. Average estimate for revenue was 4.3 billion. I do have the full report. Let me just sift through it, see if I can find the actual numbers here for you. Not much on that. I have the preliminary. Those aren't it. Just give me the damn numbers. Make it easy on me. Here we go. So they came in at 27 cents per share, 4.8 billion versus the 3.9 billion. So that actually looks like they beat. They beat by 8 cents and they beat on revenue. I wonder if this has, now the stock's going off. Here while I was spending all this time trying to find it out. Now the stock's going up. It's up now 6%. This is interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This is very interesting. And you know why this is? Because PayPal shit the bed on earnings per share. They shit the bed on revenue. They gave not a great guidance on outlook. And here comes Square now up and beats earnings pretty handily. Stock's now up 8%. Now back up over $100 a share. Let's take a look at the daily charts to see where this could potentially run up to. So the next resistance that this sees is potentially at around $115. Let's bring this down here. Around 115 bucks. I'm just estimating here because we got a couple of areas here where it spiked up above that, but 115 seems to be the general area for resistance there. And then the 50-day moving average is all the way up to 131. That is a really impressive beat. And I got to say, like, I believe we saw a pretty decent beat overall so far on earnings this whole quarter. I can look that up for you guys as well. But it's been a pretty impressive quarter in general amongst all the bullshit, right? Like with everything else that's been going on in the markets, a lot of fear out there revolving around rate hikes and obviously war now that we are faced with. It's just been one of those crazy starts to the year. But here we go. I have the statistics for earnings this year. 56 companies are reporting this week. Of the 436 companies that have reported so far, 87% of the S&P 500 results are beating estimates by median of 7%, and 79% of those are beating the estimates. On top line, overall results are beating estimates by a median of 5%, and 76% of those are beating estimates as well. That's really impressive given all of the negativity, right? There's a lot of negativity in the markets, and the way that these companies are beating still is quite impressive. Despite inflation, despite everything else that's going on. I mean, Square was up 7% on the day, and now it's up another 4% after hours, after some pretty impressive numbers coming out of them on their earnings report. Again, that is 27-cent versus a 19-cent estimate. The revenue came in at 4.08 billion versus 3.98 billion. So they beat pretty handily. It looks like they gave relatively decent guidance as well. And investors are happy. They're happy about this one. Man, Square might be the one to own over PayPal, huh? But PayPal's come down so much still. Like PayPal is damn near pandemic lows. All right. We got a couple other ones that people were asking about. Open Door. Is Open Door actually moving? I did want to take a look at Zscaler real quick. Zscaler is now down 17%. Holy shit. Let's take a look at that 5-minute chart, guys. Whoa. Anybody in Zscaler? That is a tough beat. So they came in at 255.6 million. Adjusted earnings per share was at 13 cents, it looks like. Looks like they might have missed on earnings. That is rough. Stock's down 17% after hours. Hopefully nobody is in Zscaler. PLYA. Playa Hotels. There's nothing going on here. Stop spamming the chat, Gerardo. Talking to you. There's nothing here, bruh. All right. So Zscaler didn't miss. They came in 13 cents versus the 11-cent estimate. Did they miss on Revenue Savvy Money Show? Find that out for me. I don't know if I would say PayPal shit the bed. At least they've beaten revenue off 1 cent earnings per share. It's not just about that, Kyle. And we always talk about that, right? We always talk about outlook, and the outlook that PayPal gave 2 quarters in a row now were not what investors were hoping for. They talked about a slowing of growth over the last 2 quarters. So it's not just about beating earnings, right? It's about that outlook. That's the most important part, because we don't care what happened the quarter that they're reporting on. We don't care what happened there. We care about what's going on in the future. So Donna Lindsay just got here. Anything on Rocket's earnings? Rocket missed earnings horribly, Donna. They actually missed pretty bad. However, they came out with $1.01 dividend, special dividend, which may have a positive reaction to the stock. So they actually missed earnings pretty bad. They missed on earnings per share. They missed on revenue. So the stock started to sell off. Then people started to catch wind that Rocket had announced $1.01 dividend, which is incredible. That is a really amazing dividend given the price of the stock right now. All right. Occidental Petroleum. I don't think that's going to move much on earnings. It's up around 1%. Most of the time, these earnings are really expected because we already know the price of the stock, right? Like it's not going to, we already know the price of oil. So it's going to move based off of that. And we've already seen Occidental move that well. By the way, the XLE, did the XLE end red for the month? Or Is it down for the month? I think it is. I think the XLE energy is actually down for the month, believe it or not, despite the moves in oil. Very interesting dynamic there. Still bullish on oil, but you know, that's just how it goes. I mean, it's run up so much, it's going to have these pullbacks, and actually it looks like it's potentially resting on the bottom of this ascending channel that it broke out of. So could be starting to change directions on oil. We'll see. Lots going on there. Okay. Anything else? BYND, they missed earnings badly. Stock's down 8%. Somebody was asking about that. They missed earnings and they missed revenue. Not good. And they lowered guidance as well. Lower guidance. Yeah, this is a very interesting dynamic. So I wanted to address this as well. So Ricardo, we see a couple other people talking about this. So oil was down today, despite we saw $100. It was, I think, what we see 105 on Brent, and we saw 100. Was it 100 exactly on WTI? We saw 100 exactly on WTI, or maybe 101 on WTI crude. Yet we saw an immediate sell-off on all of the oil stocks. Why? There's a couple of reasons that we could theorize as to why that might have happened. They didn't completely cut off Russia as far as oil is concerned just yet. And so there's other potentials out there. There is the Iran deal. So there's a potential deal out there with the Iranian government that could bring in another 1 million barrels of oil per day if they re-up that deal, or if they go through with that deal. So that's going to be something that'll be very interesting to watch. Also, I mean, the U.S. has plenty of oil. If they decide to, process more, produce more, that could also be on the table. And I think that was some of the sentiment here, that the oil was starting to get a little bit ahead of itself. And there's a lot of confusion in the markets revolving around that. So we saw oil was up 7% and then retreated, because when Biden came out and talked about sanctions and this, that, and the other, never mentioned anything about, cutting off any kind of pipelines, restricting anything. So then oil kind of like took a chill. Still ended green on the day, but not like it was. It wasn't up 7%. I think it only ended up like 1.5% on the day. Does this mean that $100 oil is now off the table? No. I think that before the Russia issues that took place today, I was calling for $100 a barrel oil regardless. And I think that's still very much on the table. There's still not enough supply out there to keep up with demand. And if this somehow escalates, then I think that oil could go up even higher. So I'm going to continue to stay patient with my oil trade, and I'm not going to just let one day decide whether or not I'm choosing to sell. So, there was a lot of folks that took advantage of maybe some of the dips that they saw in oil, or maybe your oil stocks. Chevron, I think, was one of the few ones that actually stayed green today. But yes, I think that holding on to energy is still the way to go. I think I could potentially see myself letting go of energy leading into the warmer months. If we get into like May, June, and we start to see oil really kind of going nuts, then I'll probably end up taking my profits. But right now, I'm going to continue to maintain my position in oil. And for me, the exposure is marathon oil specifically is what I'm in. The options are really cheap, and I got them for pretty far out. So yeah, natural gas also definitely one to continue to hang on to. So good. Thanks, Nukaru. Appreciate you. All right. Jason says Putin is not a good person. No, he is not. I mean, I gotta wonder, and we saw, this is just, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent. It's not stock related. By the way, if you're just tuning in, we saw earnings from Coinbase. They crushed it. They did really well. BYND, Beyond Meat, did not. Rocket, so some notable things. Rocket announced a $1.01 dividend regardless of the fact that they missed earnings and revenue. Zscaler shit the bed. It's down 17%. Square did really well. That's up still. Are we actually going to call it block? Because it's still square to me. No, square actually ended up turning red. Interesting. It's now down 0.5%. But one thing I wanted to say, I'll leave you guys with this. After seeing everything that's been going on in Europe right now, you know, I thought it was very, these are just my thoughts. When I saw Russians in Moscow and St. Petersburg protesting the war, and government officials came out and started throwing them all into jail because they didn't have an authorized protest. I mean, protests aren't supposed to be authorized. That's not the point of them, right? And it just goes to show like how different an authoritarian government is compared to ones that are free. So for me, like one of the things that I reflected on the most, besides the fact that people lost their lives today, was just that, man, like how fortunate are we right now to live in a country where we can protest about whatever we want, and not good. And they were peacefully. Nobody was wrecking anything, by the way. Nobody was destroying anything. They were just out with signs and being thrown in the jail because of it. And they will be punished for the rest of their lives for that, by the way. So just you know, I feel fortunate to be in America where I can do those things. I can say whatever I want in a time where people talk about censorship and everything else. It's like, you know what, you know, the USA, America is not perfect, but I tell you what, it's a lot better. And in my opinion, it's the best place to be out of anywhere else. God bless America. Anyways, listen, like I said, we're not perfect as Americans, but you know what? We could be in Russia right now, getting thrown in jail just for protesting. An unauthorized protest. Like, what the fuck is that even supposed to mean? Unauthorized. Who? In what world is anybody going to authorize a protest that is against them? Right? Like, if I was Putin, I'm not going to authorize a protest that, you know, puts me in a bad light. What am I? They're going to authorize protests that are like anti-American protests, right? Of course they are. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I'm glad we got to talk. I'm glad Batman Zoom was able to show up. And it was good to have him in here. Felt good. And that's going to do it for me. I'll be back Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time to go over the week ahead. As you guys know, for most of you know, we have I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Take the 3-day weekend. And I will see you guys. Well, not Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but Friday, Saturday, mostly Sunday. But I'll see you Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time to go over Stock Watch Sunday and stocks to watch coming up for the week ahead. Hopefully, we don't have worse news. I don't have worse news to share with you. So that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. I've been really bad with the calls to action, but if you could hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell, I would certainly appreciate it. And that'll do it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I'll see you Sunday.